There's something going on. Crowd loving it. It's a ball, fly ball. Home run!
All right, MLB playoff races. In the last couple of weeks, we have some really tight races. Ryan, I don't know if you have been following me or not, but currently it looks like it's going to go down between Chicago, Detroit in the Central. Neither one of those teams are going to fight for the wild card, but either one of those teams are going to win the Central. It's going to come right down to the last day. I think there's a half-game difference between the teams right now. Detroit's 81 and 72, and Chicago's 82 and 72. Chicago is where they are in terms of they had a bigger lead on Detroit, but they went into Los Angeles this week and got swept by the Angels. In turn, the Angels have now become more of a threat in the wild card, being only 2 games behind Oakland. And Oakland now is playing Texas in a series, and they played Texas, I think, 7 out of their last 10 games. So where the Angels play Texas 3 games, and they finish off with Seattle for their 7. In the East, the American League East, the Yankees have pulled ahead of Baltimore by 1.5 games. Baltimore has gone 7-3 in their last 10. They sit pretty well comfortably in the first wild card position. If a team's going to catch them, it will have to probably be the Angels or the Rays. The Rays sit about 3.5 games behind Baltimore, 4.5 games, where the Angels would sit 3.5 games. That's a big number to hit with 10 games remaining in the season.
It is. It's going to be interesting. Schedule will be key. I mean, Tampa has won 5 straight. It'll be interesting coming down to the wire there for that particular race. I still think that wild card there will be very, very interesting, because if you look at the way things are going, I think Detroit might just be out of it, to be honest with you, as far as wild card goes. Now they can win that division. I don't know. Do you have someone here you think? I mean, Baltimore's lost a game, Oakland's lost a game.
Well,
the Angels won 3 straight. Like I said, the Rays are 5 in a row they've won. Those 2 teams are driving hard right now, and they're both on winning streaks.
I think if you were to ask someone right now, if they looked at before the season had begun, which 2 teams would you think are be the wild card contention out of those 4 teams? If you only looked at those 4 teams, and you didn't include Detroit, they're only 5 games back with 10 games to go. I think most fans, most experts would say the Angels and the Rays. And if you look at their records lately, there's a reason for those assumptions. I mean, those teams are playing the baseball you need to be playing at this time of the year.
Definitely, and one of the numbers that you pointed out in the past is their run differential, and they are by far, Tampa Bay sitting there right now in 4th in that race, and they're plus 102. Angels are plus 81. Oakland in front of them at plus 72, and then Baltimore minus 7. That's a bizarre stat to look at the moment.
And Baltimore's won a lot. Coming up to this, they've been gone 7-3 in their last 10. They've improved their run differential in that period of time. I mean, I think last time we talked about this, they were around a minus 30, minus 40 mark.
Yeah.
Now in the National League,
series against the Jays will help.
Now in the National League, the National League seems to be set in terms of the division winners, where you have San Francisco, Washington, Cincinnati. Those teams have all guaranteed themselves in the playoffs. Atlanta has also been guaranteed a playoff spot, primarily because they play in the Nationals division. They sit with a record of 88-65. So that pretty much leaves one more playoff spot to be determined. Now, St. Louis has been hot as of late. They've won 3 in a row. They have a run differential of plus 100, 7-3 in their last 10. But they are hot on the heels, or they're being caught. Not caught necessarily, I guess is the wrong word. They're chased by a multiple of teams. And I'm only going to say Milwaukee, LA, and Philadelphia, Arizona. Pittsburgh seems to have fallen off a bit. They're looking just to get a 500 mark, I would imagine, this season, which is great for them. They've done really well this season.
Yeah, and Philly and Arizona are on the outside looking in here. They're on the bubble here.
I mean, I would suggest you're right. They're probably looking to really make a run if they're going to make it. I mean, Philadelphia's lost 2 in a row and only 5 in the last 10. Now, Milwaukee's made a run since trading Greinke to the Angels. They've gone 7-3 in their last 10, but 3.5 games with about 10 games to go is a large margin to make up for a team that doesn't have a lot of stars on it. Where the Dodgers seem to have a lot of stars, they're only going 5-5 in their last 10. It may make it a little bit more difficult to catch them, especially when you have a team that are strong in their divisions, like Arizona, that they still have to play, and they have to play San Francisco.
That race might be done. You know what I mean? Mathematically it's not, but like you said, Milwaukee and LA have to really win a lot of games coming out at the end here, and hope that everyone else above them loses.
And so basically, in the end, we're looking at a wild card race where I think you have to look out for Tampa Bay and the Angels, check out what Oakland and Baltimore do in their next 10 games. If Baltimore continues what they're doing and Oakland can get the pitching, those two should make the playoffs. That's painful for me to say as I'm an Angels fan, but needless to say, that's what happens when you struggle any point in the season. That's why games in April mean so much as games in September mean.
Right, and that's the adage, and I think we may have touched on one of our really earlier podcasts. You can't win a championship in April, but you can lose one for sure.
And I think in terms of the Angels per se, I mean, I think they went 7-15 in their first in their first month. And if you flip that around, 8 games, well, all of a sudden they're looking at the division title, not being out of the playoffs.
They needed Trout right at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and now next year they'll have it, so we'll see what happens. Anyways, we'll be back at you next week talking about who we think are the winners and losers of the season, who might be the MVP, the Rookie of the Year, and then we're going to look into the playoffs as well and see who we like going forward.